Your goal while watching this video is to understand how to convert between percents and decimals. When you have a percent, we know that it means out of 100. So 23% means 23 out of 100. Remember that every fraction is also division waiting to happen. So this is 23 divided by 100. And if we would want our percent written as a decimal, we could get there from its fraction form. We could say 23 divided by 100. That will give us a decimal. Remember that when you divide by 100, that is the same as moving the decimal point 2 places to the left. So in 23, its decimal point is right here, right? 23%. Decimal point is right here. Dividing by 100, you move 2 places to the left, and you ditch your percent sign. Okay? So this right here is the math problem, 23 divided by 100. When you divide 23 by 100, you get 23 hundredths. One way to also think about this, if it helps you a little, is that percent has the word cents in it. And it's a lot like when you deal with money. If I would have 23%, I would write that the same way I would write 23 cents. Just like that. Okay, so a few more examples. Write 52% as a decimal. I know that 52% means 52 out of 100. And this problem, this fraction, well, if I say write your percent as a fraction, this is perfectly right. You don't have to go any farther. But if I want a decimal, you can divide it out and say, okay, 52 divided by 100. When you divide something by 100, the decimal point moves 2 places to the left. So 52% can be written as this. Again, if you would think money, all right, 52% would be written like 52 cents would be written. If I saw this on my paycheck, would I think 52 cents? Yeah, it looks like you would write 52 cents. The check is just showing that if you had a grid with 100 squares, you'd shade 52 out of 100 or 52 hundredths. Part B, write 7% as a decimal. This percent symbol means out of 100. So there it is as a fraction. If I want the decimal, I just keep going and I do the division. 7 divided by 100. That means you have 7. You divide it by 100. In other words, shortcut, when you're dividing by 100, just move the decimal 2 places to the left. So I have 0.07. And would 7 cents look like that? Yeah. So that's just one more way to check it. And on a hundreds grid or a hundredths grid, if those are 100 squares, 7 out of 100 or 7 hundredths should be shaded. Okay, so you've got the going from a percent to a decimal. Now we're going to work our way backwards. So when we did a percent, like 36%, we were dropping our percent sign and moving the decimal to the left. When you go from a decimal to a percent, you're just doing the opposite thing. You're moving your decimal 2 places to the right. So 36 hundredths, all right, if you read this, 36 hundredths, that 6 goes out to the hundredths place. 36 hundredths means 3600 out of 100, which also means 36%. All right, this one I'm going to look at it like money, 47 cents. Remember, you write percents like you would write cents. So 47 cents would look like this if you use the cent symbol. If you use the percent symbol, it would look like this. So that's our answer. We can also use the strategy of, we're working our way backwards. If we were going from a percent to a decimal, we'd move our decimal point to the left. But going from a percent, or going from a decimal to a percent, we move 2 places to the right. We can read this as 47 hundredths because our 7 goes to our hundredths place, 47 hundredths. You've been doing that for years. The hundredths place, the tenths place, the thousandths place. So 47 hundredths, 47 out of 100, yep, we can write that as 47%. Part B gets a little bit more complicated, especially if you're using the money example. So we could say, oh yeah, that's like 66 cents if we're ignoring the 3. So we know our percent is going to be about 66%. but a little bit more, because there's that 3. So I would do this by saying, okay, after the decimal, we go up to the thousandths place. So that is 663 thousandths, or 663 out of 1,000. Remember, though, that a percent is out of 100. So how do I get from 1,000 to 100? I divide by 10. So then this number I also need to divide by 10, which moves the decimal point 1 place to the left. I get 66.3 out of 100. And remember, instead of writing out of 100, I can write out of 100 with that symbol. If you just want to go by decimal moving, you'd say, okay, we're going from a decimal to a percent. Move the decimal 2 places to the right and add a percent sign. Part C. Write 1.8 as a percent. So again, if I'm thinking money, and I see 1.8 on my paycheck, how many hundredths are there? 0. All right, so if I see $1.80 on my paycheck, how many cents is that altogether? It's 180 pennies, right? $1.80 or 180 pennies. So it's 180 out of 100. In other words, 1.8 is 180%. Any decimal you have that's bigger than 1 is going to be bigger than 100%. If I would do this problem by just multiplying by 100 and moving the decimal 2 places to the right, 1, 2, right, decimals at the end, add the percent sign, I get the same answer as I did up here. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. There we go. This is what I wanted to erase. Okay, part D. If I look at this as money, it's very, very hard to do. So money normally would go out to the hundredths place. So what I see out to the hundredths place is that. I don't even have a full 1 cent, but I have a fraction of a cent. I have like 9/10 of a cent. I have a very little piece of a cent. So I'm just going to do my move the decimal approach to write a decimal as a percent, multiply by 100, or move the decimal point 2 places to the right. So I'm going to take my decimal point, move it 2 places to the right, and add my percent sign. If I wanted to use a more thoughtful approach here and use my math knowledge and my math background to figure this out, I'd say, okay, what is that number? It's 9 thousandths, right? That 9 is in the thousandths place, so 9 thousandths. And a percent means how many hundredths is it? So I'd say, okay, we divided that by 10 to get 100. We divide the bottom by 10, got to do it to the top. 9 divided by 10, which is that out of 100. So instead of writing out of 100 like this, I'm going to write out of 100 like this. I think we're good here. I would like you to pick one of these to write on your paper. So you're going to pick one of these to write as a percent. You can pick 5, 6, 7, or 8, but write the number down on your paper that you're doing, and then write it as a percent. And that is due tomorrow.